Hey everybody, welcome in. I'm Jess. It's Monday, and you will see it's just me today. The wonderful Baker Meeple and Phantom Meeple are out of town this week. If you all know, Abby had some surgery done last week. Everything is fine, y'all. If you follow her on social media, she is in recovery. So that is great, but they are just chilling tonight. So I have taken it upon myself to bring in not only one, but two guests this evening for another cozy conversation with you all here. Let's say hi to everybody in the chat. Welcome into James. It is now an official stream because James Raziel is here. Hello, my dear. And welcome into Abby and Joe, Baker Meeple and Phantom Meeple and Slivers. Hi, 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 hi. I have a feeling, Slivers, that you're not here for me. You're here for my guests. And that's fine. That's fine. I appreciate you being here anyway, but no, I'm just rowing you. I'm just rowing you, Slivers. You know I love you. Yeah. Sure, Slivers. That's fine. Anyway, good evening, Gus, and anyone else that's lurking and working tonight, or just getting home from work, or just wanting to chill out, and start off your Monday with me, or maybe it's Tuesday for you. I mean, I just talked to a friend of mine in Australia, and it's already like Tuesday afternoon. Crazy banana pants, right? Kestrel is here. Oh, hi, Kes. So good to see you. Hope you're having a fantastic Monday. So yes, friends, I am going to be joined in just a moment by the fantastic Nick and Mike, the Brothers Murph, and we're going to have a nice cozy conversation tonight. But if you have any questions for them, please feel free to pop them in the chat, and we will get to them as soon as possible. How are you all doing this weekend? How was your time over the weekend? Me and the lovely SB, she had some fun time outside because we've actually had clear skies up here in Oregon. Still been freezing, but we've had enjoyed the sunshine. Yes, friends, it is sunny sometimes in Oregon. Believe it or not, the sun does shine here. So yeah, it was nice to kind of get out of the house and enjoy some time. And yeah. Aw, thanks, Kes. So sweet. So sweet to say. I just love it how everybody's saying hi to everybody. The Brothers Murph in the CCG house. That's right, James. That's right. So yes, friends, let's get down to it because we all know they both love to talk. So we're just going to get started. And I say this all lovingly because they are very near and dear to me. So without further ado, I bring to you, it is Nick and Mike Murphy.
Hey, we out cheer. We out cheer. Hello. Howdy, everybody.
Them bing bongs be yackers, says Kes. Yes,
Well,
yes.
We be talking from time to time. We talked about VR games and stuff halfway through our stream for Gen Con, which they pay us for, and they were like, we need to play a board game probably soon. We had to rush play it, but it takes nothing to get us off the rails.
We got there.
You got there. Did you end up actually playing a full game, or was it just like a couple rounds?
No, we played the full game. We always finish them. Although Gen Con now, there's a show that's right after us on Gen Con, so we have to be on it.
Yeah, we can't mess around.
So now it's got to be like, we need to go now because we have to leave at some point. So we don't have a choice.
That's too funny. Welcome in. Icarus is saying, that sign off was fast.
Yeah. It always sneaks up on us.
We haven't quite gotten used to the need to be out 5 minutes early. Like we're so finely tuned to finishing right on the hour that it's actually been an adjustment. There's been several we gotta go by, and they're like, okay, what's the final score? We're like, I don't know, 20-30, and they're like, okay, that's great. So it's we're too good at our job, Nick, and if we're
too good at our jobs,
we don't have 2 hours. We don't have any time at all.
Wow. Not to brag at all, but
no,
good
man.
At your jobs.
Too good at my job. So good at my job, I'm pretty bad at my job.
Yeah.
I like Kestrel says, what is this on the rails absolute myth? Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Rails can't contain us. Oh God.
Can't contain us.
I just launched the bottle.
Awesome. Well, friends, as we start this off, for those that don't know you, Nick and Mike, why don't you identify who you are, what you do in the board gaming space, and what your pronouns are?
Absolutely. I'll go first.
Sure.
Okay, cool. Yeah, all right. I mean, the what we do is pretty much the same. I'm Mike. I'm a he, him kind of guy. Oh gosh, I do. I, along with my brother Nick, run our channel called the Brothers Murph. We do stuff on Twitch. We do stuff on YouTube. And we're all kind of about community. So we do live streaming and kind of talking head videos and challenges and just kind of anything that's like fun and engaging and kind of trying to bring connection to people and stuff. So yeah, I guess that's kind of what we do. We're trying to build a cult, man. The best cult of all.
We are. We're succeeding at this point. Yeah, which is great.
Yeah, that's what we're doing here.
So I shave my head. A lot of cult leaders are bald. That's why I'm like, I gotta start moving the bar, you know.
Infinitely more followers.
I gotta start wearing white, you know.
Oh yeah,
big billowy white shirts, you know.
So are you like psychologically making people join the cult by actually shaving your head, Nick? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Our numbers were starting to dip. Nick, so I was like, all right, gotta start committing fully.
Nick is like an antenna, and the shaved head just makes a signal pump out that much more clearly. So.
Yeah, exactly. You're like a Professor X kind of thing, then.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. I'm basically in Cerebro at all times.
Yeah, he sleeps. He sleeps in a dome.
Okay. I mean, you heard it here first, friends. We're gonna learn a lot. If you need some dirt coming out, I feel like Mikey's got something brewing in here.
Got it. We got you covered.
Nick, anything you want to add to your introduction, or do you think Mike covered it?
No.
What I missed, man.
Also, he, him. Yeah, we just do board game stuff. We are here on Twitch. We do a lot of stuff on YouTube. We kind of split between those two. And then, we like work for Gen Con. We work for Board Game Geek. We do a whole bunch of, we're kind of all over the place, honestly.
Get around.
I don't entirely know how we do all the stuff that we do. I don't really know how we do it. We do it. But that's what we do. We do lots of board game stuff. It's our job. It's a very silly job, and we like it.
Awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Next question. How did you both get into board games?
I thought you were going to say, how did you meet? And I was just like, long time ago.
Well, in the hospital one day, Mike was walking by.
And all of a sudden, I wasn't alone in the world. I had a brother. So how did we get in the hobby? So I imagine this is the same for everybody, but it was a kind of multi-faceted process of slowly
multi-year process
of slowly being enfolded by the board game hobby, and like the best ambush predators, you didn't know you're trapped until you're already in the trap.
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
Okay.
So I'd say Nick is the reason we're here. Nick we both had experience kind of individually with board games and stuff while being completely unaware of the world of board games. Like we had no idea the lengths to which this hobby goes, while still playing some board games. Like for me in college, I played like Bang and Talisman and a few games like that, along with like the Craniums of the world. So kind of party social kind of games. And I had a buddy who was kind of into board games and stuff. And so he showed off some of these things that were probably good for like groups and good for non-gamers and stuff. And I really enjoyed those things and didn't even give it a thought that like, what else is there?
Right.
And I kind of like operated off of those kinds of games and even got Bang and Catan, and Talisman and stuff. And kind of just rolled with those. And then Nick, you actually dated like a board game family. So you were into people who were like in the hobby.
I dated everyone in the family. It was a weird situation.
It was wild, man.
We made it work.
Jamie's it was weird. Oh, it's Nick's fault. Such a brother move.
Pretty much, yeah. But I was dating a girl and her family were big gamers, big nerds, big gamers. Like her dad is, I think I would assume still to this day, has been in a D&D game for like 20 years, like where they're playing like the great grandchildren of their original characters.
Wow.
Because they've been in the game for so long, their characters have just died from old age basically. And so they're playing like their sons and daughters and then those people's sons and daughters.
Crazy.
Like, insane, right?
So wild.
So her family is big gamers, and like we were always kind of interested in like nerdy stuff like that, but never board games. And so her family loved Pandemic, and so one day I was over at their house and they taught me Pandemic. And then shortly after that was New Year's Eve. And Mike came over to, her name was Kira. Mike came over to Kira's with us, and our friend David, I think, was there too. And we all played Pandemic. It was the first time like we had played like a modern board game.
Yeah.
And they had like a cool version of Pandemic where they had like all the bits like in an old pill bottle and stuff like
They
that.
had blinged it out themselves, like DIY.
Whoa.
Was super cool. We were just like, what, we'd never played a cooperative game. We were like, what is this?
Yeah.
And so that was kind of like the start. And then I ended up breaking up with the family, unfortunately.
The whole family all at once.
Whole family all at once. It was an awkward day. But so then we ended up separating, and then so we eventually went out and got Pandemic because that was the only game I knew. Kind of like Mike was saying, is
like we know that game.
I know that game. So we got Pandemic, and then our friend David, who had been at that game of Pandemic years later. This is like I had moved to LA at this point. Years later, we had Pandemic, Catan, Talisman, and probably like Bang for years and years and years, and that was it.
That was it.
And then my friend David told me about this game called Zombicide. He's like, yeah, it's like this big cooperative game with like all these like minis, and like you're like survivors, and you're trying to like fight off these minis. You're doing all these things. It's like a big kind of like Kickstarter game. And I was just like, what are you talking about? Like, I'd never heard of a game like that at all. And so then I went out and found Zombicide just at retail, because it's at retail at this point, bought it, and then I wanted to paint the miniatures because I like doing art. And so the way I kind of delved deep into the hobby was I started watching videos on miniature painting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And because I was watching videos, and I was specifically trying to watch video games on painting Zombicide. And so because I was looking up a board game in YouTube, the daddy algorithm started sending me all these suggestions where in the sidebar was like Rahdo, the Dice Tower, Watch It Played, a lot of the big people.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept seeing them in the sidebar, and then I randomly started clicking on like Rahdo videos and then seeing games that again I'd never heard of. And then that once I started watching that board game content, that was it. Then it was over. I started watching the Dice Tower, and you just dived so far in. So again, it was like this multi-year process, but really the reason why we dove in was because I was looking up mini painting tutorials, and because of that, I started learning about all these other games.
Cool.
And here we are. Now it's our job.
Very nice.
Thanks, Kira. Thanks, Vanderbeens. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I did message them like a year or two ago being like, hey, by the way, I am working board games for a job. Thanks. And they were like, oh, hey, Nick, you're welcome. And I was like, yeah, this is my job now. Thanks for teaching us Pandemic all those years ago.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah.
Okay, so yes. Jamie says the OG Gloomhaven characters either retire or die. Yeah. That is very true.
Sure.
And James asked a very important question. How does Rosie Murph adapt to being the second most awesome Murph since Baby Murph has arrived?
So Rosie quite wisely has sided and formed a coalition with Logan straight away.
Nice.
Her whole goal in life.
Anti move right there.
Her whole goal in life is to be the best aunt of all time. She sends
screwed.
Logan care packages constantly. She sent her a Valentine's Day box. She got a tattoo of Wolverine, like a little baby version of Wolverine.
Nice.
It's like a little cherub Wolverine that is just in honor of Logan. So
awesome.
She's already won. Rosie has already won.
Yeah.
Cass says you can't beat him, join him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
100%. Like,
That's
she's
awesome.
already gonna be the favorite.
That's awesome.
She's stronger than ever before.
She's very over Mike and I for already.
Oh yeah. Could not
That's
care
awesome.
less about us.
All right, another easy one. What is either of you's both actually, let's ask both. Go-to player colors. 1, 2, 3 at the same time. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh man. This is man, I'm in flux with this constantly.
You're in a tough situation specifically.
I did a short and asked this very question because I'm so curious about it. The short, boring answer out of the standard 4 colors, right, is blue. I'm going blue.
Okay.
But I like a white. I like white. I think it looks so clean and it pops. And so it's nice. I like natural wood.
Okay.
I like gray. So I want to expand and try different colors. But then the problem is if I do that, I forget that I'm not blue and I keep moving blue pieces. So the short answer is blue. I should probably stick to blue because I confuse myself when I go away from it, but I'm so lured in by other colors constantly.
Yeah.
Fair. That's fair. Nick?
My favorite colors are orange and purple.
Okay.
And so if orange or purple are available, I'll choose orange first, then purple. They're more available now. I feel like more games have not the standard colors. If I'm going to be of the standard 4, I usually choose yellow because it's the closest to orange. I know red is technically equally as close, but I usually choose yellow because it's also the one that people
But red is trash, man.
Yeah, so
I know this is like a community connection, Jess. So don't let me.
We're gonna trash.
Don't let me derail that. But anyone who likes red needs
the fact that both of you actually have a color is a lot more. I can't tell you how many people have gone on this stream and say, I don't have a preference.
They will commit those liars.
Liars.
Total shenanigans. I'm like, you tell me if they give you puce that you're not gonna be mad.
Yeah.
Come on now.
No one wants that puce.
Come on, some lies. Bunch of liars.
Bunch of liars. So thank you for
What's your color, Jess?
Purple.
Okay, that's what I figured. But yeah, just don't check it. Maybe it's,
royalty. It's royalty to me.
Fair.
It's royalty.
Fair.
You know what I always wondered, and maybe it's because it's the most different, but like the standard 4 colors, if it's going to be like a classic Euro game, you get red, blue, yellow, green.
Right.
Obviously, you have the 3 primary colors. And how about green flexing in as the only secondary color?
Always green
to represent.
Yeah.
Like
if it has to be standard, they should obviously throw in orange and purple.
Yeah.
If there's a game that has orange and purple, I guarantee green is also still there.
Yeah.
What? Look at green. Look at green go.
Yeah.
They're unstoppable.
So, Mikey, have you played Lost Cities, the board game?
No, I want to so bad.
Because not only does it have white, it has tan, it has black, it has, I think it's like a yellowy orange color. So it's like nature in a sand, color of sand.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot. I'm a fan of Lost Cities. Nick is not so much, but I've heard that Lost Cities, the board game,
I do want to try the board game.
Oh my word. Okay, yes. When I see you both next, at Gen Con possibly,
we're
going to have to play it. Because there's so much shade for it. Everybody loves the card game. Everybody loves, whatever, the dice game or whatever. The roll and write, I will say, is fine. The roll and write is fine. But it definitely hierarchy has to be the board game, the dice game, then the card game for me. Just saying.
Okay, interesting. Card game last. Wow.
So
I love it. I would love to play that. I would really want to. Yeah. I think it would be super fun.
Yeah.
So I'm down. I'm in.
Very
Pencil
cool.
me in.
Very cool. James says green and blue are everywhere in nature. That is true. That is fair.
Yeah, I guess.
That's very fair.
Green does dominate nature. Pretty stupid chlorophyll.
Yeah. Everywhere. And trees, Yeah,
that's the thing. It is very prominent.
Yeah. Very, very prominent.
Blue is like the least common natural color.
Yes.
It's very rare.
I listened to, what was it, Game Tech, I think? Jeff Engelstein talked about how blue was a difficult color to even create in materials and stuff.
Yeah.
I always listen to Game Tech. He's fantastic. I'm trying to see if I can get him on a show.
Jeff Engelstein.
The rivers, oceans, and skies. But that's the weird thing is none of those things are actually blue. It's like if you were to pull water out of it, it's not blue. It's just the reflect. It's we see it everywhere in the reflected light. But there's not anything that's actually material. There's not many that are materially blue.
Specifically mean in nature, but I mean living things. There's very, very few. In terms of colors of flowers, blue is by far the least common. The colors of fruits and vegetables and things like that, there's very, very few that are blue. Even animals, there's not very many. Even birds are kind of the only thing that you show a decent amount of blue in. Within living nature. Blue is by far the least common color.
Yep.
But it's so prevalent everywhere we see, just in the light, the way light. It's just it's kind of wild.
It's just wild, yeah.
And also, if you think about there's science behind why we can see blue in our veins too.
Mm-hmm.
Just the pigmentation of how our eyes perceive it. Crazy. All right, we're not here to talk about science. We're here to talk about
talking.
Not
talking science.
All right, next question: co-op or competitive games?
This has changed, I think.
This has changed.
Yeah.
Co-op is how we got here. We are in the early day. Obviously, Pandemic was the gateway game that we really propelled us into the hobby. obviously the cooperative nature was huge because I don't want to play a game and get picked on and blah blah blah, because it just evokes like thoughts of Monopoly and all this and that. So cooperative were very important for getting us here.
Okay.
And I remember in the early days thinking like, I only want to play co-op. That's what I'm interested in. And now I am very far the other direction. I don't like playing games where I'm mean, but I would much prefer a competitive game most of the time.
Okay. Nick?
Yeah. I would say I don't necessarily think I prefer competitive games. I would just say as we've gotten deeper in the hobby, we realize, there's not that many cooperative games. There's a decent amount, but there's way more competitive games than are cooperative games, which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But like when we first started out, it was like all cooperative games. And so I don't necessarily think I like competitive games more than I like cooperative games, but I definitely play way more of them because there's just more of them. I'm still pretty 50-50 in terms of which one I enjoy.
Okay.
But I'm very like, I like multiplayer solitaire games. So like the competition part of competitive games, I don't care about. So I'm still pretty 50-50, but I definitely play more competitive games because there's just so many more of them.
I think that's facts.
That's all we said.
All right. Favorite game night, snack, and bevy?
Baby carrots all day.
Baby carrots.
Game
wow.
night?
Did you see how fast you answered that? Wow.
Because they're not messy. They're great.
True. Okay.
Yeah.
It means I can see the dark better. I think that's been disproven, but whatever. They're small. You can just kind of eat them. They're not loud at all, which is great. Baby carrots because they're not messy, and I love baby carrots. I'll just eat them forever. Beverage, probably just something hot like a tea or a coffee.
For me,
it's never too
the
hot.
The beverage is simple. It's going to be coffee for sure.
For you,
no question about that. God, the snacks. We don't have that many game nights, unfortunately, where it's purely a recreational thing. So we don't eat that often.
Yeah.
I'd go like a cookie or something that's gonna be sweet and nice, but it's not going to like mess your hands up. Obviously, you have to deal with maybe crumbs with the cookie, but you could dip it in the coffee. I think like I'll get with some Oreos or something like that. That might be the vibe.
Oreos are good. Oreos aren't that messy.
No.
Yeah, they're pretty contained.
What if you had like utensils to use with said snack, some chopsticks or like a spoon? If you're gonna snack on some gummy bears, you could scoop them with a spoon or whatever.
Chopsticks really widen your ability to eat things. Because I would eat Cheetos if I had chopsticks to eat them with, because the powder wouldn't get on my hands.
I'd go probably like Doritos then. Some like chips.
Yeah, chips.
Nice.
Yeah, I do like candy at a game day. Like if we're at a game cafe or something that have candy, I will often get a candy because that's pretty like minimally
generally
nar. The Lone Star can provide a cookie. That's my favorite thing about going to cons is randomly getting pastries and snacks.
Getting sweets from
the best.
Yeah, that's the best part.
And I forget about them, and then like at some point I'm really tired, and I'm just like, oh my god, there's a Rice Krispie in my bag. Yeah,
that's so true,
and it saves my day every time.
Yeah, I always wait for a Lone Shark cookies or the Amanda Panda cookies, and I'm just like every day I like go back to the hotel and I'm like, yes.
Yeah. I realized something recently. Speaking of Amanda Panda and her cookies, I had an interaction with Amanda way before I knew who she was. And it was like maybe it's like a Strategicon or something. Okay. And like, there's a lady like selling cookies. And I was just like, yes, I will buy those. And I was like, that was weird. Like I've never just been sold random cookies before, but they were super delicious and everything. I was like, that's very pleasant. And then many years later, I was just like, that was for sure, Amanda. There's no way that wasn't, And I was like, that's kind of cool. Like way before I knew who it was, I guess I knew who it was. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was stoked.
All right. Do you both have a fan experience? Meaning, have you met someone in the hobby that you were just like, and you're lost for words,
whenever I look into a mirror.
Oh wow!
I don't. When we first got into the hobby, probably meeting like we were.
The first time seeing Tom was quite a thing. Yeah. Tom Bassel, just because he's this giant of a man. Okay. And I was like, so we went to it was MeepleCon then. Now it's Dice Tower West. Before. And the Dice Tower were like a big part of MeepleCon. That obviously then they became MeepleCon. So we were, it was 2017.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This going to this event and stuff directly led to us starting to make content. So it actually was a very important weekend for our lives, all told. But it was like the first time like we had gone to like a board game thing, like a big thing where we like traveled. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so we traveled to Vegas and went to this thing and we're like, I think the Dice Tower's gonna be there. Oh my God. And like got to see Tom. Was like, well, that's crazy. We got to play a game with Z. And it's like back then that was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And then more recently, one not like not in a fanboy way per se, but like I got to like we've gotten to know John DeClaire recently a little more, and I remember being like surprised at like, I don't mean this to sound like in a poor way, but like surprised at like just how sweet and nice and like welcoming he is. Like he's the nicest dude ever. Yeah. And because he makes all these games, I thought maybe he'd be like more serious or something like that. And like he is very serious about his work. Right. But he's just like the goofiest dude. And I was just like, I did not expect you to be the way you are. Like and so that kind of made me go like, whoa, this is crazy. And he's just like, you want to bring your kid to my house so we can do pancakes? I was just like, yeah, I do want to do that, John. That sounds amazing. And he means it when he says that. I'm like, that's so sweet.
That's very cool. He was very sweet on stream. We had him on stream like a couple months ago.
He's the nicest. Yeah. He's and he obviously is one of our best designers, so that's great too.
Very cool.
It doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
What about you?
I like John a lot.
Probably as Mike said, kind of in the very beginning, meeting some content creators that we had watched. It's like meeting like Rado for the first time was like cool because that was
really cool.
That was like the person I first started watching when I got into the hobby and stuff. And in terms, like John, I love meeting designers. That's what's cool. We got to interview Richard Garfield. That was like pretty cool.
That actually was.
We're not Magic really players, so like there was no time for that. But it was just cool to be like, wow, you're like the biggest designer ever. Like by $1 billion.
He's a legend. Yeah. We got to interview Bruno Catala back in the day. So all the designers have been really cool because they're all just nerdy board gamers like Richard Garfield. Like we had him on, and before we were live, kind of like when we were, with you, Jess, before we went live, you're kind of chatting, and inevitably you're like, "Oh, hey, Richard Garfield, that's crazy." And he's just like, "So, what have you been playing lately?" And we're just like, "Gee, like you're gonna ask us that question?" Like, because he's just a board gamer dude, and
you're
he's
like,
just like,
"I've only been playing the Hunger and
my Pug."
I spent $1,000 Magic cards, obviously.
Yeah, and he's just like, I've just been playing the Loop. It's really good. And we're just like, well, he plays the Loop. That's crazy.
That's crazy, man.
That's crazy and how mundane it was. Yeah, he was really nice too. Richard's a cool dude.
Nice. That was a cool one.
Nice. Yeah. So speaking of designers, do you each have a favorite?
I think our favorite's probably the same at this point.
You say at the same time?
I'm a big Uwe Rosenberg fan. Yeah,
Uwe Rosenberg.
Okay.
Yeah,
Uwe gotta be.
Just makes games for me specifically.
Yeah. Okay. So then, favorite Uwe game.
Well, obviously, there's only one answer. It's the best game of all time. It's called The Feast for Odin. There's
my favorite.
Nick.
Come on, Nick. Come on,
I think it's in my top 20. Mine is Le Havre. I love Le Havre. I think Le Havre is
You're both wrong. You're both
What
wrong.
is it?
It's Caverna. Come on now.
Caverna's great.
That's pretty
good. Both Nick and Mike. Come on.
Yeah, that's true.
We just played the Forgotten Folk expansion, which is really good.
Really like that a lot.
Caverna
is dope. Caverna, I say that saying my favorite game is Feast for Odin. Caverna, for whatever reason, Nick 3D printed the most amazing insert for a Feast for Odin. It makes the game so much easier to set up. It's still a big setup, but it's a lot easier. And now, like, we don't have that for Caverna, and now it makes it. I just can't get my brain around the setup sometimes. I'm like, it's so hard. There's 1,000 bags.
Token insert, Mike. That's what you do. That's what I did. I saved up and I splurged, and putting it together was just so satisfying. Because now setting up Caverna takes 15 minutes.
Okay. I love that. That's the best it can be. It's only 15 minutes. But it's worth it. It's a big epic experience. It's only 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's just so the full space insert for Caverna is also great. Yes, and here's the thing, Twin Flower, we got that. The problem is it's like, when it comes
the expansion.
It comes with the It comes with the Forgotten Folk expansion, but you need the Forgotten Folk box. It doesn't all fit in the Caverna box. So I
Oh.
realized
We didn't know that.
the full space one actually isn't all that useful because we got rid of the old
Yeah.
box. So we're like, oh, so we use
Oh.
part of the Forgotten Space,
Yeah.
Golden Space one.
It helps.
and,
It does help. It does help.
Yeah.
Thank you, Slivers, for the
Caverna is
goodies.
really good.
He says this
Thanks,
comes from the
Slivers.
person who did content on how inserts suck.
They do.
Fight me in chat, y'all.
Fight
I
me.
throw most of them into the recycle bin immediately.
Yep. Almost immediately. upon the-
Jamie says she needs to still learn Caverna. I have Agricola. I heard that it is either way better or much worse than Caverna, depending on who you ask. That is
That
fact.
is accurate.
That is fact.
Yeah, we jumped right to Caverna, and we still to this point have never played Agricola, and I'm kind of like, I don't know. I want to play Agricola because, like, obviously Caverna wouldn't exist without most of his games wouldn't exist without Agricola.
Uh-huh.
I'm kind of like, but I've got these other things over here, and I don't know if I want to go back to Agricola now.
I have so many other farming games.
I think it's too late.
Too many feed your people games. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's never too many of those. Ube, please keep making games. Forever T was great too. I love it so
We
much.
just played it to us. Great.
Yeah, Ube's the bomb.
Bomb, bomb.
to beat.
Have either
Hard
of
to
you
beat.
like got to meet him at all?
No. That's someone I would be like, oh, that's cool. That's cool.
That would be cool. Yeah, I don't know how often he makes it stateside. So
As far as I know, really never. I don't ever.
I
heard
mean,
about
y'all are traveling next month, right? So
Mike might be
Yeah,
like,
I
dude,
could-
pop over to Germany. Show
I could
his house.
pop over. I could go make a little trip, a little side trip.
you know,
Let's
bring him
go-
some
go to wherever
biscuits.
he-
It's fine.
Yeah.
Mm,
Just go
I
to
might
wherever
think
Fields of
about it.
Arlo is set and just start
Oh
yelling
my
his name.
god.
Yeah.
He's just like, "What's up?" You're like, "Oh my god, that was easy."
Hello.
Just in a peat bog.
There you go.
This is in a
There you go.
P-Bog designing games, you know?
All right. Next question. What's your favorite game mechanism?
Mm.
For me, it's still worker placement. I've always loved worker placement the most. Ever since I first played my first worker placement game, I was like, cool, this is a mechanic for me.
Yeah.
And to this day, there's other things that have gotten closer to it, but to this day, it's just so versatile. You know, you can do so much
Yeah,
stuff with
I
worker
agree with
placement. Like worker placement all day.
Yeah.
All day.
I think
know,
that's very
Nikki, I've
fair.
asked you like some of these questions in our other streams that we've done recently. So I'm like, wait, you did say that.
Yeah.
Mike, what about you?
Mixed. So it's hard to argue against worker placement. I think Nikki hit it on the head. Like it creates so many opportunities. There's so many things you can do with it and use worker placement. However, I think it's gonna be tile placement for
You
me.
like tile
I love
placement,
tile laying, tile placement, all the spatial stuff that creates. That's why I love Feast Road so much, is that it's both of those in equal measure. I love
That's true.
I love that sometimes in a tile placement game, it's a Carcassonne where it's just squares. It's not particularly hard to fit stuff together, but you have to pay attention to like what matches what, or you have a patchwork where the shapes are super funky and now it's a Tetris game. There's so much good stuff that you can do. Tiling might be number one. And I like to build something in front of me in a game. So I get that satisfaction.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Last game you backed on crowdfunding.
For me, it was just last Marvel United. That was very recent.
Okay.
Oh, you
But
just did that.
Before, that's more for me. I would not say that's a Brothers Murph expense. That's much more like a Nick expense.
We
Look, I don't know. We do not back much stuff on crowdfunding at all.
We
to be
have
totally honest.
we have Darwin's Journey is still on the way.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't the last thing we backed, though.
It might be.
No.
Pull it up,
we
Nick,
backed
pull
all-
it up.
Let me pull it up. Hold on. Go kick
No,
that.
Every
Okay,
time I
so
ask this
apparently-
question,
Oh,
people
got
are
it,
just like,
sorry.
hold on. You see them like opening another
Okay.
tab.
Hold on.
Come on.
Okay, so-
now.
Oh, you know what we
Last
did?
What, go ahead. I
We
have pulled it up, go
we
ahead.
backed the expansion for Wonderlands
Yes.
War, the little mini expansion.
Okay.
That is true.
Okay.
I backed Board Game Day, Ambi's book, which I
Yeah.
received, and I got like 3 copies of that to give to
Yep.
everyone I know with a kid.
Same.
And then Nick, the Campus Wahala. Talk about that one.
What is this one?
Oh,
What
the
was
one
this
that
one? Or did
was
I do
from
it?
the folks that
You
ran
did this
AppCon.
one. That's right. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. That's
We
right.
wanted
yes.
to we wanted to help
We wanted
support.
That's right.
Calorie Games made it, and we wanted to support areas and stuff that don't have as much of the representation of the hobby. So
Yeah.
we have that coming. Gosh, what else?
A couple other small things like Library
small
Labyrinth
things.
was like coming.
Yeah.
We just got Motor City. That was one of the ones.
Yep.
Waterline, which was a little print and play. We backed. Voyages, same thing. The Hanmakoji expansion.
Which arrived apparently and then got sent back, even though it absolutely had our address. I'm like, what? So we should have that one already, to be honest. But
yeah. So I mean, honestly, like
things like that.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's not much. We don't back very much, to be completely honest.
Did Union Station, the River and Stone playing cards,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jamie says she can't wait to get those Wonderlands War minis. Her little hands on them.
I know,
She's a
right?
fantastic
I
mini painter, y'all.
I have so much, Jamie. You are, and I have so much stuff to paint. How do you get through it all? Oh,
you stream
I have
it.
so much Marvel United.
Stream it.
That's honestly, I'm probably going to be starting a mini painting stream.
Stay tuned on that, friend.
I mean, TLN content, friend. There you go.
It's a good point.
Mini Mondays with Nick. I don't know.
I already stream on Mondays. I can't do it too.
See, Jamie said that's literally why she started streaming.
I know. I totally agree. Like, I want to start. I'm painting with our good friend Jeff from Boston People. Me and him have a weekly paint date now.
Nice.
And that's good. That's keeping me painting. But I am probably going to start streaming once a week just because, like, I have so much. I'm a really slow painter. Really, really slow.
You're methodical.
Which I'm totally fine, but it just means that it takes me a long time to get through anything. And so, yeah, I really need to. Oh, yeah, I need to start streaming more.
Yeah.
I want to start streaming, but I have to figure out a setup because my computer's over here, but all the stuff is over here. So I don't entirely know how. I had to set up my whole office to be able to stream here.
Sure.
So
that's fine.
That's gonna be.
Jamie says she'd be happy to help you, Nick.
You can maybe stream off a laptop, man. I think maybe the laptop might be the way.
The main thing is, like, I have to put it somewhere over there, though. That's the thing.
Well, just mount it, man. That's an easy solution, bro.
But I can still just mount it. I can mount a monitor over there
like
and
a little
stream off this computer.
Oh, that's true.
That's what I'm saying. We don't need to discuss this right now. But
no, we got to do it right now.
We got to do it right now. We're here to help. Your community's here to help you. All right. Most important question. Horizontal, vertical, or if it fits, it sits?
Vertical. No, vertical. Vertical.
As we've been known to say.
The hand motion, both of you.
Vertical. Like this.
Vertical.
Like this. Not like this. This is crap.
We said this before. We will say it again. Storing horizontal is for the weak-willed. We do not do that.
Games like Lords of Waterdeep, though. When, like,
you suffer because it's horrible.
You throw them away.
Suffer. Yeah, first of all, if it can't be stored vertical, it's out. I will deal. There's so many times where you turn it vertical and you just hear an explosion in that box, just a cascade of pieces. You're like, I'll deal with that later, and you put it on the shelf. It goes vertical. Horizontal is insane.
Yeah, I can't handle horizontal. I don't want to have I want this game that's on the bottom. Well, guess I'm not playing that game.
Never playing that game. Yeah, it's gone.
I'm not pulling up a whole stack.
Nope. Sliver says, storing horizontal is for those who don't like warped player boards.
Don't care. Worth it.
It's worth it.
Worth it.
No, you're not wrong. They do better when they're horizontal. I just can't do it. I can't.
I refuse. I like to just grab games. It's so much easier. Same reason why I would never store books horizontally.
Well, it feels more like a library to me with the kind of by making it look like books.
I honestly also just think it looks significantly better.
Okay. But fair.
Yeah, vertical all the way.
Vertical all the way. Okay. Let's see. Ooh, Twin Flower says, but that's how some of us get our strength exercises. Lift a stack that's about 5 pounds. I mean,
that's fair.
Paula did those board gaming exercises for a reason, y'all.
That's true.
True, we followed it. Yeah.
Slivers is sending straight up just full disclosure.
Yeah.
Slivers is sending troll pictures right now. He's sending pictures of his shelves with all the horizontal books, the games. It looks nice. You have a nice organized shelf.
I'm not gonna lie. This looks.
I'm just not good enough for it.
No.
This looks like, dare I say, a dumpster. Like a dumpster. It looks like I'm looking at a dumpster.
Wow.
I am willing to give an inch. Nick gives no quarter whatsoever.
No quarter for horizontal. None.
Wow.
Give nothing.
Wow. What a cool collection.
All right, so you both are making me laugh. So do you have a favorite or funnest board game moment? A memory that made you laugh, made you remember it, or even cringe? That could be it too.
Oh man. There's several.
trying to think of
We've had several great ones on stream, and I can't quite remember. I remember the cracking up, laughing. The one, like an early one that's always really stuck out in our mind was we played. This is back in the early days.
This is a while ago.
We played a game of High Society for the first time. Z from the Dice Tower taught it to us. We played with Crystal Dax, which was like maybe the first or second time we got to meet Crystal way back when.
Okay.
And we played at the end of the night, late night, played a game of High Society, which is this Reiner Knizia auction game, and you're French people buying fancy stuff, and you're trying to be really, kind of flamboyant with your money and stuff like that.
Okay.
And we all just bought in to the group buy-in to like funny accents and just being obnoxious with the bids and stuff like that. And we all were laughing because it was just late and we're tired. And that was a really amazing moment that'll always stick with me as like an early, like cornerstone moment that made me like love this hobby more and go deeper in. So that was one we were cracking up and just being silly. And it was the perfect late night game. It was awesome. It was so awesome. It's still love that game forever. Yeah, because of that play.
We had a moment on stream. We were playing Codenames Duet, and this is still a thing that comes up in our stream with our chat.
This was epic more than anything.
We were on our last leg in Codenames Duet. We had our last chance, and we needed to get like 3 more words. Yeah. And the clue that I gave, I think to Mike, I was the one giving the clue, really worked for like 2 of the words, but not the third one. And so the clue I gave was spicy.
Yes.
And I can't remember what the other 2 words, like pepper, something else. And the last word was squirrel. And that was the one that did not make any sense.
Not related at all.
In my head, I was just like, Michael picked squirrel. I just think he'll be like, spicy squirrel makes sense. Just because we're both very...
Yeah. And we both agreed. I was like, I'll bet you like a squirrel has spicy meat. That's specifically the way in that we had. Like, I'll bet that'd be spicy meat.
Like, I bet it's got some spicy meat.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting around the stream. It's Mike got the first 2. Then he's like, I feel like it's. He's like, for some reason, like I'm feeling squirrel. I don't know why. And I'm just like, oh my god, please pick squirrel.
You have to put your poker face on.
Yeah.
And I'll put my poker face on while he's talking about spicy squirrel meat, and then he eventually just goes squirrel, and me and the chat lost our minds because
it was actually correct.
And it was correct. And it was just like the spicy squirrel moment was a pretty good one.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. It was epic. It was so epic. The game will never be better than that one moment. It was so dope. And the fact that it was right. And the fact that like, that's why a game like Codenames works really well with like people who know each other so well. It's like that will only ever work if it was Nick giving me that clue.
Right.
Yes.
Because we're both dumb enough to be like, I'll bet you they got spicy meat. And Nick was just like, that's why I said it. Because I thought it'd be spicy. I was just like, yeah, I get it.
This made sense.
Great.
That's
and Twitflower, you have not missed that video. We haven't had a chance to do it yet. We're going to be roasting people's collections.
Yes.
Wow.
And so we have not. People gave us their pictures. Way more people than we were expecting. We were like, hey, maybe we'll get like 5 or 10 things. We'll make it a silly little video.
We got like 100.
We got over 100 people send us pictures of the shelves wanting us to roast them. So we were like, oh, this turned into a much bigger. We're gonna have to do multiple videos. It's turned into a whole thing.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Too funny.
Yeah.
So speaking of content creating friends, do you consider yourselves players first, creators second, or has the creative process overtaken the hobby form of gaming for you?
Ooh, interesting question. I would say it was, we started this not expecting it to be like a job. We just kind of started it for fun. Definitely it was more like gamers first then, and then we started doing it as a job. And I would still say it was probably like 50-50 when COVID hit. And then for those like 2 years that COVID was really like, we were inside of it. I will say it became much, much more job for me. Not that I ever disliked the hobby or lost my passion for it, but it was just like we weren't able to like game with people much anymore.
Yes.
But we were still doing this as a job. So for those like 2 years or so, it was much, much more like I would say my 9 to 5. And I still enjoyed games. Loved the fact that we could stream games and play games. And now that things have like opened up in the last year or so and continue to do so, the hobby for me has come back a lot more. And so now it's working its way back to that 50-50 thing. But during COVID, it came much more of a job. Not that, again, I lost any passion for it, but it definitely came more of a job. And now that's settling back to 50-50, which is where I want it to be. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I think we're always striving for 50-50. You know, me having a kid and stuff, there's even less time for recreation than there was before. So there's not a ton, but you know, we managed yesterday to do a game day, Nick and I, just us. And we played 3 games. We played 3 games that we played before. Nothing was new, which is rare.
Kind of nice. Yeah.
And it was really fun to like deliberately set the challenge of like, let's not play anything new. We have stuff we could try, but let's just like dip in, you know, revisit the well. But we're always striving for more of that recreational time because we're just so much the better for it when we remember why we do this and how great board games are.
Sure.
And especially if you get to game with people, how great that is, because that is the thing. That is the thing. So I'm glad that we're getting a chance to do more stuff with people. I've gotten back to some of my, here in Ventura, we have a group of buddies that play games on Mondays. So I can't make them very often because of Logan, but you know, I try to make it at least once a month, and that's been fantastic.
Cool.
Yeah.
So do you have someone or some people that you have both of you have looked up to as mentors during your professional journey working in board games?
Ooh. Good questions. You know, there's some content creators and stuff that we really admire. You know, we're big fans of Monique and Naveen from Before You Play, especially as we in the last, you know, year and a half now have moved into doing playthrough videos ourselves. We always look at like, man, they've just perfected the art. They're so good. They're so likable. They're so, and they are genuinely, truly as sweet as they come off. They
100%.
are those people. And so I really look up to them a lot. It's funny. And I hope I'm not just blatantly like forgetting something, but in terms of mentors, I'm trying to think of it's more been like peers that we've kind of seen what someone is doing over here and like, oh man, that's really cool. And wanting to borrow a little bit from that. And stuff like that. There's a ton of people in that cat. There's so many people right now. I'm just like on the sideboard right here. You see Benita's live, Brain Jar's live, Connor. There's so many good people doing amazing stuff. Ruel, we've learned so much from you and the kind of recommitment to like the community, and that being the thing has been a big inspiration for us. There's it's everywhere. There's honestly there's greatness everywhere.
Yeah. Again, when we first started out, I wouldn't say that we didn't look up to anybody, but it was just like we started like at this point we're kind of like the old heads in terms of board game content creation. Like we've been around for a while. You know, we've been around for like 5.5 years, and a lot of people who are doing board game content creation started within the last like say 3 years or so.
Yeah.
So we first started out. I don't know if we necessarily looked up to anyone in terms of like trying to emulate them or really been like, oh, this person's like a mentor. But as Mikey said, nowadays we're kind of looking to a lot of people and just trying to be like, oh, okay, I think we'd like to try this. So like one person I watch religiously is Tim Chewin because his production value is so good. Yes. I'm constantly like, let me try to do some Tim stuff. Let me try to do some Tim stuff in this video. And like, so like people like that who are just like honestly significantly better than us in things like video production or something like that. But like, okay, let me try and figure this out. How can I do this? How can we up this? How can we up that? Yeah. And so a lot of our peers, again, we look up to quite a bit. When we first started out, kind of not because we went a
very different direction with our channel. Yeah. Like we didn't want to be a review channel. There weren't a ton of, at the time, like people doing different things. Like we didn't want to do how to plays. We didn't want to do reviews. We want to kind of do a different thing. So we were just kind of like trying stuff. That's our whole career has been that, just trying random stuff.
Sure. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what would be a piece of advice that you would give to someone that's just starting out in content creation?
Stay in your lane and don't come for our channel, bro. No.
So
don't do things with your siblings.
We always say, have a brother who likes the same hobby as you.
That's the real talk.
one thing we always try to tell people is like lean into stuff you're genuinely interested in, because with life on the internet, there are numbers. We are chasing algorithms. We are chasing likes and subs and all this stuff. And, like there is some amount of need to do that. If you're trying to book work with a publisher, if you have good numbers, it's going to be easier to do that.
Yeah.
So I totally get it. So you can't always control the numbers that come in. You can do everything right. You can make the most genuinely interesting video ever.
Yeah.
And it just maybe doesn't get seen, doesn't get in front of people. And that sucks when that happens. So we always say, be genuinely interested in what you're doing and be really into the process of that, because you may not always have the audience, but if you are truly passionate about this thing that you're doing and it just revs your engine, that is such an attractive quality. There's something that is so magnetic about seeing somebody do something they're really into. We all, I feel like, have people on the internet that we watch that you're like, I'm not into ice fishing, but man, this person really is. And I'm into this person doing their ice fishing.
True.
You know what I mean? Because people follow people. So, especially when they're starting out, I'm like, find what you're interested in. Find your little niche. It could be something that someone else does. It could be something completely different.
Yep.
Find what you're into, lean that direction. If you can find a way to put a spin on it that's a little bit unique, a little bit your own, roll with it and see what happens.
Yeah.
But be passion led.
Yeah, same. I mean, that's really, and then I guess like figure out like, not necessarily like your long-term goals, but just know what your goal is going into it. Like, is your goal to try and make this a job? Is your goal just to do this for fun, or whatever? It's like, just kind of know what whatever your goal is, and then kind of work towards that. Ask for help, people who you think can help you with that and stuff.
Sure.
But yeah, it's passion first. And if you want to start, just start. You don't need to like get to this certain point.
Start where you are.
Just start.
Start wherever you are with whatever equipment you have. We literally started streaming with one webcam that was taped to our dining room light. That was also our source light for our board game. And we started streaming and that thing would freaking swing, which means your camera swings. Yeah. And some people like slivers out there in the world would watch us do that for some reason. We had no idea what we were doing. And and it worked out. So just start with whatever you got, whatever crappy equipment you have.
Nice. All right. So with that being said, Murphs, what would be something that you could wish would improve or change within the hobby?
Whew. Whew.
All right. And I mean, it could be more than one thing. If you've got a list, I want to hear it.
Man, interesting question. I want to think about this seriously.
Sure.
Mike seems so ready, so I'm letting him go.
Nah, if you got something, Nick, go for it. I'm trying to order my thoughts. I got excited because I think this is something that we need to constantly talk about.
Yeah.
Nikki, what you got?
It's kind of, a lot of people always say this, but like I do wish the hobby was more welcoming. It's weird because like board games get seen as this like really, really welcoming hobby because the vast majority of people in board games are very nice people, right? Very, very nice people will usually like sit down and play a game with you or whatever. But at the same time, it's very gatekeepy. It's very not welcoming at the same time. And so I do think that it's like, it gets seen as this very welcoming thing. And in some ways that is true. And it has gotten significantly better. When we go to like a convention, it's like there are a lot more different kind of people there than there were when we first started this. I mean, it already has gotten better. But I think it's a thing that board games and really any kind of niche hobby needs to strive for, which is to be more welcoming to new people.
Okay.
Yeah.
And less resistant to change. Because I get people being resistant to change is something they love, like board games, but it's just like lots of stuff needs to change, and so many people just get so bent out of shape over it. So I'd say be more welcoming and being open to change.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, those are really good, man. I think those are really important ones, especially because this hobby is it's weirdly difficult to access because board games, if you're getting into like a lot of stuff that we're in, and granted, we are very deep into this thing by now. All of us are. Any one of these games that are in our collection, if I just started explaining the rules to someone on the street, their face would melt off because it's a lot of like minutia and like this and that.
Yes.
And that makes it hard because like, no, I won't say no one, that's not it, but like, it's going to be hard for someone just to go up to, there's a small board game collection in a library and they pick up a Caverna and just start to open that thing and just jump right into that game. It's going to be hard. It's really hard. So often you have to be brought in by somebody.
Yeah.
So if we want this thing to grow, we all need to be legit ambassadors for this hobby and make it as easy as it is as possible to bring people in and bring them in gently and slowly and understand that probably the last thing they played was Sorry 25 years ago, even a Patchwork, even a Seven Wonders, a Sushi Go is going to be a massive leap from what, so I think that's that. And I think, since we are kind of on the industry side, a bit, I think that the board game hobby and the industry hobby, I think we need to mature a little bit. I think we need to kind of grow up a little bit and start. And I don't know the answers to this, so it's just my observations, but start to treat this hobby and this industry like the bigger industry that it is. Like board games as a whole are bigger than I think we think they are. And they're comprised of many very small businesses and stuff. And I get that, but I think I want to see a shift our mentality to act a little bit like a bigger industry in the hopes that it becomes an even bigger industry. I don't know. I think there's just certain things I see in the way people conduct themselves. Not everybody, of course, where I'm just like, we could be better. We could be more professional. We could be more organized. We could be more put together. And it's not easy, but I'd love to see that. I'd love to see us get there.
Yeah, it still feels like the board game industry as a whole is very immature, basically, and not that like immature, but just it's just like it still feels like a very, very young new industry. And it's kind of not, and especially considering how big board games have gotten, it needs to mature a lot.
And I want to see more like things like more organization around publishers and content creators who we have a very intimate relationship with each other and we serve very vital functions for each other. And I want to see us like on an industry scale, get more organized. Like to me, it's crazy that there's no convention that is dedicated to publishers and content creators, your marketing team, getting together and getting organized for the year and the upcoming releases. It feels like shoot by the hip, rush, panic. We're launching on Tuesday. I got to get this game. And I'm like, we need to be thinking more into the future. And, every industry has conferences where you bring people together on the professional side and we do not. That needs to change, and am I forgetting president? Hell no. But, I don't want to be anywhere near that, but, maybe an alternate to that would be great.
Yeah. So then what's motivating both of you to keep going in this hobby?
The people, I think. The potential.
Okay.
There's so much, for as many kind of setbacks as we see and frustrating moments, and they are around a lot. When you get to play games with people and you get a chance to sit there and talk, you really see like what the ultimate mission is. And it's about bringing people together, connecting, looking into each other's eyes, lifting our faces from the screens for 10 minutes, and connecting and talking. And I can't think of anything much more noble than that. I think board games have the potential to like cure people, fix people, bring communities back together when we're so stuck right now, fighting from our sides and just waging internet warfare in the comments sections of whatever. I think it's really important to remember that we are all human beings. Most of us are just out there terrified. A lot of people are out there being lied to and having their fear fed to them. And it's just like, we're all trying to get by. And so something like a common ground, we're going to play this board game, allows that connection. And I think the humanity to be restored a bit. So, yeah.
Well said. Well said. Nick, did you want to add anything?
Just like what's motivating us to keep going to the hobby kind of thing. Honestly, everything Mike said, but I guess another thing is like, I'm just excited. I'm always interested to see where things, I mean, like we really are like been saying like in a kind of a golden age for board games. Like all the games nowadays are just so good. Like to the point where if a game is just like okay or like pretty good, it's kind of not enough at this point. It kind of needs to be great, which like sounds bad, but like that's kind of like the cream.
How lucky are we?
Right?
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's like games look so good nowadays. Like a game that has like not very good art kind of isn't acceptable. And I think that's a good thing personally. And so it's just like the evolution of the hobby in both from a social aspect, from a game aspect, I think is really, really interesting. And I'm just interested to see where it goes. I'm so astonished that we can constantly have new games. I'm like, how do you keep thinking of new games? They do. And it's like, and then, you know, you every once in a while, once or twice a year, have a game that people are like, wow, no one's ever done that before. And it's just so cool. Yeah, I'm very excited just for that. You know, I really enjoy it.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, then here's another hard one. I'm getting into the nitty gritty, friends.
I love it. I love it.
Do you think the terms board game and tabletop are separate, or are they becoming more interchangeable?
I personally think board game is an umbrella term at this point. I say board game for everything. The only thing I would say I don't say it for is like a Dungeons and Dragons tabletop RPG. For me, if it's like Radlands is a card game, it's not a board game. I just say board game. I probably should say tabletop game because it's really games we play on tabletop. For me personally, board game is very much an umbrella term for tabletop game, even if it doesn't have like a board.
I agree. Yeah, it's funny because like a tabletop is kind of the more generic term and maybe should be the one, but board game is just more satisfying sounding.
Yeah.
So I'll lump them together.
There you go. That's fair. That's fair. All right. What would be a game you would recommend to someone who has never played a hobby board game before?
My go-to
$1,000,000 question.
My go-to gateway game is Project L.
Oh, okay.
I think Project L is great. As kind of talking about, Mike was talking about earlier, talking about like, if you were explaining a modern board game to most people, it'd melt their faces off. I think board gamers need to work on a lot of self-awareness and specifically in terms of like understanding how much familiarity with other games improves your ability to learn new games.
Yes.
Like if you're
the vocabulary that develops.
If you've played an Uwe game and then you pick up, if you played Caverna and you pick up Hallertau, you're already a third of the way there.
Yeah.
Just because there's so much stuff you know what worker placement is. And that's why I think like a lot of people who consider games to be gateway games really aren't, because still some of it is so much easier if you know the game. Project L, I think, is incredibly easy because one, it has kind of like a Tetris-y tie-in where you're kind of making these different shapes and it's simple. You're taking these shapes and you're filling in these voids. Everyone can understand that as a concept. Like that's what you're doing. And then the actions are very simple. It's like, look, you have this area in the middle, fill that in with these shapes. I think it's very, very easy to explain to people.
Yeah.
The rule set is very simple. And then on top of that, it's very satisfying because filling in things like that is very satisfying. And the pieces are those nice, really colorful acrylic pieces. So they're tactically satisfying as well. I think it's a perfect gateway game. It also doesn't have a theme. So you don't have to worry about like, oh, are they going to be into this theme or not into this theme? You know, like Pandemic was our bring in, but like COVID was a pandemic. So there's kind of time they're like, man, this is kind of a weird game to play right now. Because we're like in a pandemic. And so sometimes theme can turn people on or off.
Yes.
And so like, Project L doesn't have a theme. It's shapes. That's the theme.
Right.
And so to me, it's very neutral. It's very pretty and it's very satisfying and simple. So for me, Project L is the gateway game.
Okay. Mikey?
For wholly new gamers. Yeah.
It's so... There's a lot of There's a lot of good choices. I'm staring at my shelves wondering.
No, do it. Twin Flower says Dice Throne or King of Tokyo, depending on player count.
King of Tokyo was an early.
A
lot of people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dice Throne and King of Tokyo, are great picks because of the Yahtzee tie-in, and people understand Yahtzee.
People get it. Rolling dice, people get it.
Yep. Yep.
I would go, if I want pure simplicity and it's easy to understand, it's tactile and fun, I would go something like a Draftosaurus.
Okay.
It's cute. You make a dinosaur zoo. It's easy to understand how the pens work. You can teach that. It's fun. You're holding dinosaurs in your hand, so that's fun.
Very cute. Yeah.
I would go with that. A game recently that would be maybe, the next game you place, not purely first, would be something like a Flamecraft.
Okay.
Flamecraft is like so beautiful.
Yes.
And so appealing looking and cute. And you have two actions you can do. You can gather some resources, or you can spend those resources to enchant a building. And I would maybe cherry pick some of the enchantment cards and get rid of the complicated ones and keep the really straightforward ones. Yeah. But the appeal of that game and the look, I think, could be really, really nice. It wouldn't be the first game because it might be a little overwhelming looking, but that'd be an early game anyway.
Okay.
And Jamie and Jess said Cartographers. I think Cartographers, it's definitely more complicated than Project L, but because it's also, I think polyomino tile games in general are good because people just get that. Like, hey, make this fit together. It's something people just understand.
Yeah.
And Cartographers is like, really good.
Going along the lines of Cartographers, though, Nick, and also for Jamie, I would say doing Second Chance. If you wanted to do the poly, you don't know Second Chance, Nikki. It's a Uwe Rosenberg game.
What? No, I don't know this game. I don't know it. Second Chance.
I don't know Second Chance. How do you not know Patchwork Doodle? How do you know
Patchwork Doodle? I know. I love Patchwork Doodle. Patchwork.
Uwe did do Second Chance.
Okay.
So yeah,
it's kind of like Patchwork Doodle.
Version of Cartographers, but you're just flipping cards and you're just drawing the shape, so you don't have to worry about like certain objectives and things.
Okay.
But yeah, Second Chance. Get on it.
Agreed. That's a great choice.
It was my go-to pandemic game when I played virtually with my family during the pandemic.
Yeah.
While we're still in it. So we did
Plus
once a month.
Killer.
Board gaming with my family, and they each got a copy of Second Chance for Christmas. And I'm like, we're playing the Tetris game, and they're like, oh yeah, check it out.
That's awesome.
Check it out.
That's a great pick.
All right, top 5 games you would take on a weekend getaway. Ready, Mike? Go.
Okay, weekend getaway. So this is assuming I'm going to actually play these games because I often bring handfuls of games to places and play none of them.
Independent. I mean, you can just bring Karen and Logan. You can, bring a whole gang of people.
Oh man, so many opportunities. I'd bring Planet Unknown.
Oh wow, okay.
I probably would bring like a Le Havre, to be honest.
Okay.
I'd bring a Le Havre, a little bit more chill. Okay, I gotta round this out. Scout, 100% Scout.
Okay.
I'd probably bring Cascadia. Fifth can be anything. I could go Space Base. I could go New Frontiers. I could go Honey Buzz. I'm gonna go Honey Buzz.
Okay.
Those are my 5.
Nice. Nick?
I'm going to assume on this weekend getaway that we're not just playing games. So I'm going to choose easier stuff or quicker stuff.
It could be. You could be just locked up in a beach house.
It's a game day then. I'll pick my 5 favorite games. So I'm going to assume that other stuff is going on. So I'm going to choose. I'll also choose Scout because I think Scout's a great choice. It just goes over so well. I'm going to choose Green Team Wins because I think it's an incredibly good party game.
Yeah.
I'll choose. Let's choose Barron Park because I think it's great and it goes over well with a lot of people. I'll probably choose Cartographers. Honestly, I'd bring that one out.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna choose Black Orchestra just in case I want to play a solo game.
Wow.
Get ready.
Sure.
Very nice. Very nice. Slur says,
you mean
why
Black
don't you
Sonata?
do other stuff on a weekend getaway?
I don't know. I'm just assuming I don't have a monopoly of choice over here. I'm assuming
Nick,
other stuff is going on.
A clarification for me. Do you mean Black Orchestra or Black Sonata?
I meant Black Sonata, not Black Orchestra. Yeah, sorry. I would not bring Black Orchestra. It's fine.
It's just fine. James has a question. Thoughts upon Brass Birmingham versus Gloomhaven War on Board Game Geek?
Okay. I don't think it matters.
I don't love that they're at war. I love that Brass is taking number one. I think it's great. I think it's so fun. I think it's interesting and exciting. I don't love the reaction where people are starting to like downvote Brass and people are now downvoting Gloomhaven to like switch it around. That's,
to me, it's
super weird to me.
It comes across incredibly childish.
It's the most petty thing ever.
This a 1, make it a 1. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't love that part, but I love that Brass is taking it just because it's cool and exciting. And when something else takes number 1, it's a big moment. I love that that's happening. I want to see that happen more often.
It's one of those things where it's like something becoming number 1 BGG honestly happens very rarely. Like once every couple years max. So it's a big deal. I don't think the top BGG ranking matters all that much, honestly, because I don't think it's I think it's a very, very niche look into board games.
Fair.
Yeah.
Because if you look at every game in the top 100, none of those, so few of those that represent, I would say, like the casual gamer. I don't think it's very useful for anyone who's not really deep into the hobby.
Oh yeah.
Now, granted, that's mostly what Board Game Geek is for, and I acknowledge that. But like Twilight Struggles have run for a long time. It's like, what? Like, 1, why would you ever play that game? 2, it's like, but it's just one of the things where it's like, I think the Board Game Geek top 100 list is so niche within a niche already.
Yeah.
Like if we're talking about like the top number 1 should probably be Wingspan because it's sold everywhere. Sure. It's sold like 2 million copies. It gets a lot of people into the hobby. It's like that should probably be number 1 at this point because in terms of like the game that sells the best and
like impact.
And it's getting the most people into the hobby. I mean, that's a kind of game that's kind of getting like Catan status, where even if you're not into board games, you probably have heard of Wingspan, or maybe have seen it at somebody's house or something like that. Like it's getting to be that status of level, and so like that's the thing is like so to me the BG top 100, Brass number 1. I don't personally like Brass very much, so I'm kind of like all right, whatever. But like I just don't really think it matters personally.
Okay,
but good for Brass.
Good for Brass. Well, there you go, James. There you go. All right, I have one more question before we get into our special segment and my costume change. If this was your last day on Earth, Murphs, what would your last dish be?
Wow. Are we going? We have just one last dish. It's last day.
You can if you want to do a whole day of meal planning. That's fine too.
Okay.
Breakfast, lunch, dinner. If you want to do dinner and secondsies or whatever.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna do eggs Benedict for breakfast.
Okay.
Cool.
Eggs
just straight up original. Or are you gonna get fancy?
No, honestly, I'll probably go original. I do like fancier eggs Benedict. Like I had in Minnesota, I had like a pork belly eggs Benedict. It was very, very good.
Oh, that sounds great.
Like I'll probably just go original. Just go like natural. Tons of holiday sauce.
Okay.
For lunch, I'm gonna go fish and chips. I love fish and chips.
Okay.
Gosh, for dinner, what?
This is a toughie, man.
Probably like a really good steak and mashed potatoes.
Oh man.
Dinner's the harder one.
Nick, you're crushing this, man.
And then for dessert, pumpkin pie.
Oh. Okay.
And dessert, bro?
Nice.
And dessert.
Nice.
I'm going all day. Mikey. You said my last day. I get a whole day.
I'm going Denny's Grand Slam, something like a classic breakfast, but I want them pancakes. It gotta be a part of it for sure.
Okay.
Lunch, I'm gonna go with like a burger, just a great burger and fries situation. Yeah. Real nice.
Dinner. I almost went a burger for lunch. Yeah.
Dinner, man.
Dinner's a rough one.
It's
best when I go pizza.
That's what I'm saying. Where's the pizza at? I'm going pizza. I'm going pizza. Yes, I'm going pizza.
Wait, you got to describe the toppings because this is also controversial.
Obviously, simple bacon pineapple. Boom, best pizza.
Yeah, Mikey loves.
What is that? I heard that before, Mikey, when you said that, and I was like, no Canadian
bacon pineapple.
Like actual crunchy bacon.
Yeah. Bacon bits, yes.
Okay.
So good. It's similar to the ham, but bacon is way better than ham.
That's true.
Even
Bacon's
bacon
better than ham.
bits.
Ham is
Delicious.
overrated.
Gotta have the
Ham is.
pineapple. Makes the pizza juicy and therefore delicious.
Oh my gosh. All right.
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
I will never use a better term. I think juicy is perfect.
That's fine. That's fine.
Juicy
As long as you don't
pizza,
say
you love to see it.
moist, that's fine.
Moist
No,
pizza.
never that. Juicy. Very, very
Yeah.
juicy though.
There you go. See, we even got a pineapple pizza from Twin Flower and Deadpan in the chat. There we go. There we
Yes.
go. All right, friends.
There you
Give me just a second. I'm going to do my quick
Okay.
costume change. While I do it, you all can listen to the lovely intro music for Phantom Meeple because this is his special segment. But this tune was actually done by the lovely Omari Akil.
Ooh.
Oh.
So there we go.
Love Omari.
Jam out to that, friends. I will be right back.
And a meatball.
Love it. Like we playing Walkabout mini golf like this? What are you doing?
We ought to do. Want to see what's going on out there in the world. Get up some golfing in. Dude, pineapple pizza is the best. Nick, you gotta get on it. If you
I don't want
got it.
hot pineapple. I don't want hot.
Yes, it's the best.
If it's like on a kebab, maybe. But like on a pizza with others, nah, bro. Yeah, what's your dessert, Mike? You didn't pick a dessert. Everything about Jess CCG, how genuine she is. She's so wonderful.
Oh man, the dessert.
Desserts. What's everyone's last day dessert? Put in the
I
chat.
might go with like a really good cheesecake. A tiramisu, of course, I love, but I think I might go like maybe a brownie and ice cream because of course I want some ice cream, but I don't think I'd
You
want
would-
ice
I
cream and
think-
cheesecake. That's a lot. I think I'll
That's a
go
lot.
a fire hot brownie with some ice cream and every kind of topping I could possibly think of.
Ooh, red velvet. Red
Yeah,
velvet's
that's
okay.
good. No, that's good.
Tuxedo cake or tiramisu? What's tuxedo cake?
Black and white cake.
What is it?
Blended?
What part's black? What part's white? Yeah.
Well, I think it's
Tiramisu.
layers.
I had a when I
Tiramisu is
was-
fantastic.
when I was watching the CBU Lance game, Lance Up, they had tiramisu, and it was non-boozy tiramisu, so it was pretty darn good.
I like it a little boozy, which makes sense because of our family history.
They love in the booze.
But not too much though. I've had some that are just way too heavy, and I'm like, no. Let's.
Yeah.
I don't. I want the coffee flavor too, so it's
Yes,
just like it
that's
can't be
what I
too
want,
strong. But nice, a
Pizza
perfect
style.
blend of it, and I want a lot of cream.
Yeah, New York pizza for me. I want thin pizza. I want to have to fold it to eat it. That's what I want.
Sure.
Chicago pizza isn't pizza; it's a casserole.
But it's
Very
amazing.
good. It's a very good casserole, but it's
But
a
it
casserole.
Amazing. Oh yeah. Costume
Black
change
and
on
white.
point. Costume change on point.
Oh, let's go.
All right, friends. Are you both familiar with Inside the Actor's Studio?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Love
Yes.
are we doing this questionnaire?
Yes, we are doing it. The
Oh,
wonderful Phantom Meeple has converted it to board gaming theme.
it. Yes.
So if you both are ready, we will
yes.
continue on with the Sir Phantom Lipton questionnaire.
I'm all in.
Question 1. What is your favorite board game?
Viticulture.
Yeah. Feast for Odin for me. All the options on Earth. So many worker placement spaces.
Okay.
Mm.
Question 2. What is your least favorite board game?
London.
Smash Up. Sorry, Nick said London, which is a lie. Smash Up is the correct answer. I am not a fan of Smash Up.
Okay. Number 3. What board game makes you feel the most happy?
Oh.
I'm gonna say The Pursuit of Happiness because it's so fun to play, and the points in the game are are long-term happiness. That's the victory points. See how much my cakes gains?
There are no right or wrong answers, Mike. I just need
there's
an
wrong
answer.
answers here.
Before,
Yeah.
Honey Buzz.
Ooh,
Okay.
good call.
Question 4. What board game makes you feel the most sad?
Raptor.
Oh, yeah.
Because when I'm the dinosaurs and I'm losing, I get really upset. But when I'm also humans and I'm winning, I also feel upset. So raptor.
I'm with that. It's a sad story that gets woven there.
It really is. It's a bummer.
Yeah. Great pick.
Okay. Question 5. What board game components do you love?
The dewdrops in viticulture that you put on your crush pad and they kind of magnify the number underneath. I think it's the best component in all board games.
Okay.
We have little 3D printed resources for Grand Austria hotels. So you have like little cakes, little streusels, and cups of coffee. That's mine.
Fair.
Then question 6, what board game components do you dislike?
I'm gonna go with the cheat here. When it's a 4-player game, but there's only 2 player aids. What?
That's fair.
Give me one for every player.
Okay.
Can't stand it.
Nick?
Can't stand it.
Ooh, I don't know which one I dislike. I'm gonna say round things that roll. Like the original Twigs and Everdell. I'm gonna say that.
Okay.
Things that roll.
Okay. Question 7. What board game is so bad that its name should become a curse word?
London.
How dare you?
Good question.
What have we hated? I'm just gonna. I don't know. I don't know if I have an answer. I'm too noble for that. Smash Up, like I said before, but I want something different.
Yeah.
All right.
Villainous. I changed my mind.
Villainous. Okay.
Wow.
Question 8. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Astronomer or astrophysicist.
Ooh. I would probably go back to what I was doing before and work in early childhood development education type of stuff.
Okay. Question 9. What profession would you not like to do?
Retail.
Oh. Yeah, literally anything in a mall. Anything with a sales goal.
Yeah.
Sounds awful. Anything that has to do with Black Friday.
Okay. Okay. And finally, gents, if heaven exists, what would you like God to say to you when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Roll for initiative.
Everyone's welcome.
I like that.
All right.
That's better.
And that concludes the Sir Phantom Lipton questionnaire.
Yeah, Sir Phantom. Let's go.
Gents,
I love it.
You did it.
Good job, Jess.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta take this off, man. It is just too
love it.
hot.
Too dang warm. It's cold outside, but hot inside, y'all.
Too dang hot.
Struggling out here. Love both those answers. I appreciate it. I think it'd be fun. Not if like
I love your answer. Yeah.
Got dice. They're like, let's go.
Yeah. I've actually had someone say their least favorite component was dice.
That's fair.
That's
had
fair.
people
If you
also
really hate
say
dice, I can get that.
Dice are horrible.
most favorite component is also dice. So
Yep, that's also fair. Some people are just blessed, Jess, and they get all the luck with the dice, and they leave none for the rest of us.
None for the rest of us, Mikey.
don't.
That is fair.
Gosh, they don't.
That is fair.
Dude, I don't know. There's not a single die on it. There's not a dice weighted enough to change my luck. There's just
so true. Mike is truly horrendous at dice rolling. Yeah.
I'm right there with you. So what you're saying,
intense.
Nikki, is that we should not play Elder Sign together.
no.
Probably not.
It would go
I'm
so
also not good dice
poorly.
rolling.
It would go so poorly.
Man, it's bad.
Too
Icarus
funny.
knows. Icarus knows. You see, Icarus is tracked.
Yeah,
by
Icarus
horrible
watches our
stats before.
RPG streams, and like, my gosh, would we roll bad?
Yeah.
It's rough.
No, James Brown said playing a game with rolling low is good. No, because then we'll roll high.
Yeah,
It's
no,
not,
Yeah,
it's not
yeah,
low
no,
to
it's the
high.
curse. It's the curse.
It's
Yes.
whatever is not good, that's what
Yes.
you're gonna roll.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. Gus is saying
100%.
that's the point of Elder Sign. And granted, I love Elder Sign. I love when the odds are stacked up so far against you that when you win, it's just that much sweeter.
It's epic.
It does feel good, right?
Right?
It does feel
You just
good.
kick
Yes.
Cthulhu in the teeth, and you're just like, yes, take it
Yeah.
home.
Yes. I
It's
love
pretty
that.
ace. Yeah.
Yeah, Sliver says, but Mike sucking at dice rolls is good content, and that's also
Oh,
why
it's-
you watch my streams too, Slivers. Don't
That's
lie.
right.
Yes.
That's also why you
Yeah,
watch
girl
me.
for content, you know.
It's
Yeah,
all for the
gotta.
content. All
Gotta
right, we
do.
only got a couple more questions here because I know Mikey's got to go. But
Got that,
I will
babu.
say, speaking of dice, do each of you have a favorite set of dice?
I will say this. I'm actually not into dice, I
Okay.
would say. I like dice, but I don't like collect dice.
Yeah.
So I would say like none, just a nice set
Sure.
of dice. Yeah, but
Fine.
I'm not really into dice.
Okay.
Like Paula is like super into dice. I'm
Yeah.
like, it's dice. Just give me a set of dice.
I've got like these metal dice, and there's cooler ones out there, but I love the weightiness of them. They do
Yeah.
not
Sure.
roll well for me at all.
I
They're
will
terrible
say-
luck, but I love to hold those ones. Those are great.
I
fidget
hate
things.
wooden dice.
Oh.
Oh, they're the worst.
Okay. Why?
They're
Why
too
is
light.
that? Too
They're
light.
too light.
Too light.
As Mike just said, they're too light.
Mhm.
You need
Ugh.
some weight to them, and they're too light. I feel like they always roll badly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would be a favorite or dream publishing company for you both to make content for?
Oh,
Or it could be someone that you've already done too. That's fair.
I would say Lookout
That's fair.
Spiel,
Oh,
That'd
which
be-
okay.
I guess technically is Asmodee, but that's like half the industry. Because
Wait,
basically,
as of now,
To be
yes.
fair.
as of
To be
now,
fair.
because pretty much everything Lookout Spiel, whether it's
Yeah.
kind of more their family weight stuff, which tends to be a lot of Praise Be stuff,
Yeah.
or like their like Hallertau's, I just love Lookout Spiel. So I would probably say them.
Okay.
I
Welcome in,
would-
Tim.
I-
Thank you so much for following. You do have a
Thanks, Tim.
10-minute hangout period to verify your account and all that stuff, but appreciate you. Go ahead, Mikey. What were you going to say?
Lookout Spiel is what I was thinking. So since Nick said that, I will say Garfield Games, who we do work with quite a bit.
Okay.
They
Do
they
all
make
of,
games
the
that are
Paladins and all of that?
love those games.
Got
Like
it.
Shem and Sam make games that I feel like are made for us, and they are honestly like the sweetest,
Yeah.
best, most on top of it. Shem is like he's so on. It blows my mind where I'm like, hey, here's this invoice. She's like, boom, paid. And I'm like, we sent you the email 4 minutes ago, and it's like 6 a.m. Australian time. New Zealand.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
just
yeah.
like, it's done. It's a dream, and he makes games that are like every time you're like, I'm gonna love this game,
It's true.
and that's great. It's just so nice to
True.
know you're gonna love everything they do.
Nice. Very nice. How many games in your collection would be considered too many games?
None. I think it's. No, I don't mean that as a
Seriously,
funny
Nick?
like.
You would have thousands
No,
of games?
I think
Oh, gosh.
I honestly think if it's not a burden space wise and it's not being a burden money wise, I think get as many games as you want and don't
Okay.
play them. Do whatever you want with them. I honestly think as long as you're not spending money that you need for other stuff on them,
Yeah.
do whatever you want.
Okay.
So I would say none. Any amount that you want.
Here's the thing. That's the only fair answer. I'd advocate more for like be playing the stuff you have or find it a home where it will get played and be
Okay.
kind of that ambassador for the hobby that way. So I'm gonna go 250.
Oh.
Keep it there. That's so many games. It's
Is
so
that
many.
what you actually have in your collection?
We have
We're-
about 250
we're
right
around
now.
250.
Okay.
We just called like 150 games though.
Yeah.
So that got us back down to a nice level. That to me feels really nice.
Nice. All right. 2 more questions, gents. Do you have a Grail game?
Don't, honestly. I want one. I want a Grail game.
I want to have something to chase. Well, okay, I'll say a mini version, and I don't think it'll be a Grail game for long.
Okay.
I have personally gotten much more into Brass Birmingham in the last year and a half. The first time I played it, I hated it. Then I kind of figured out the game and I actually really enjoy it now. And because it's been ascending and stuff, it's very unavailable at the moment. I don't think that'll be like that for very long.
Okay.
So that's the closest I have right now. It's like, oh, I'd really like to get brass, but everyone's just like, I've got it for $200. I'm like, you're obviously insane.
Yeah.
I have it on Steam. I'm good. But
I have a child.
Yeah. So it's like, no thanks. But yeah, that'd be one, I guess, ish.
All right.
Yeah.
What about you, Nick? You don't have one.
I don't have one. For a long time, it was Rococo, but then we eventually found a copy, or I think someone's always sent us a copy.
Yeah,
and now there's a new one out. But for a long time, it was Rococo, and honestly, there isn't really a game that I'm like, oh gosh, it's this game, but it's super out of print. I honestly don't have a Grail game. I need one. I really want one, but I honestly don't have one.
All right. And finally, gents, what is on the docket for you both coming up in the Brothers Murph streaming realm?
I mean, we're doing this.
Yes, this Thursday.
We're doing.
So excited.
We're doing the Tome Saga, the whole Tome Saga, which is all the West Kingdom games together. We're doing a monthly 6-hour stream over on YouTube, actually, called the Mini Murph Marathon, or M Cubed. And we were talking to Shem about, people were asking us to do the Tome Saga all in one big thing. So we're doing that on Thursday. Really excited for that. That'll start at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Yeah. And we'll be going for 6 hours playing the whole thing, every expansion, all of it.
Yeah, nice. Everything for the West Kingdom in one big go.
Nice.
Yep.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be really fun.
Wild. Yeah.
That's it? Just Thursday?
Just in our normal stream schedule, we stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We will be streaming this Thursday on Twitch because we'll be doing the big one on YouTube.
So what's happening tomorrow?
Yeah. Tomorrow, we're actually not sure. We might be playing a game with some guests, but that game might not be here in time.
Yeah,
so it's not really sure what we're doing tomorrow.
I'm really hoping it arrives in time. So if it is playing this kind of party game called What on Earth Are You Talking About, which seems really kind of silly and fun. So fingers crossed that arrives early in the morning. And if it's not, then Nick and I will just do a kind of normal Tuesday stream.
We'll play something. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but that was the plan. So
we will be live at 6 with either us or us and others.
Okay.
So we'll figure that out. Yeah.
Well, there you go, friends. Check out the Murphs if you're not already. There's their socials right there. And I'm sure it's twitch.tv/the Brothers Murph. Is it with the in it?
Yeah, it's the only thing that's not is Twitter, because the Brothers Murph was taken by somebody else.
What?
No, we must fight them. Yeah,
there's another to the death. Well, this has been fantastic, gents.
This is so good, Jess.
I appreciate both of you. And I will send everybody over onto a raid train. The lovely Ambi Rona and Joe Sondow are doing some puzzling.
Oh, okay.
And you can help them. It's their Puzzle Mondays. They always do. I will be back on Wednesday. I'm trying to also decide what I want to do. I think I might pull out Cartaventura from Cosmos and see how that one goes. I have 2 of them, and I have yet to check them out. So I think I might do that. I'm going to push Motor City till probably next week when more people have it in their wonderful paws, and I'll probably ask Matt Riddle if he wants to pop in and play along too. So
cool.
Yeah. So thanks everybody for hanging out with us tonight. Stay here for the raid over to Ambi Rona. Give her all the love, all the chat emotes that you can. If you're a subscriber to my channel, feel free to add those in there. If not, just send in the general raids. I mean, you can put in some bing bongs too. I'm sure the bros won't mind.
We're not anti.
No, it's fine. But until next time, friends, stay safe, enjoy your board games, be kind to one another, and we'll catch y'all on the next stream. Bye, everyone.
Bye.